na Fountain Field na team, the Untouchables, ng 200,000 peso.
Family Feud, 5:35 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
That's okay.
We begin with a Reuters exclusive. US intelligence agencies say Iran is still about a year away from being able to build a nuclear weapon, a timeline unchanged by the war with the US and Israel. Sources tell Reuters damage was done to Tehran's nuclear capabilities by US attacks last summer, but the last 2 months of fighting has done little to change the situation. White House reporter Graham Slattery says that's raising questions about the effectiveness of the most recent campaign.
The actual impact on the nuclear program in and of itself has been limited. There'll be U.S. officials that can and do argue that by degrading Iran's conventional military capabilities, the U.S. has effectively made Iran's nuclear program more difficult to defend if they should try and break out towards weaponization.
Graham says the unchanged timeline suggests that significantly impacting Tehran's nuclear program may require destroying or removing Iran's existing stockpiles of highly enriched uranium, and that is still on the cards.
Amongst the various military options that have been discussed is the possibility of doing something very daring. For instance, but not limited to, physically seizing Iran's highly enriched uranium. If that were to be pursued, obviously, that would be very controversial, have enormous political risks, but one reason that might be a serious option under consideration is simply because if you really did want to set back Iran's nuclear program by a really substantive amount, that might be, one of relatively few options on the table.
Meanwhile, the fragile US-Iran ceasefire is under strain as Washington and Tehran launched new attacks as they wrestle for control of the Strait of Hormuz with rival blockades. The fresh volleys of missiles and drones came after US President Donald Trump launched a new effort to get stranded tankers and other ships through the strait. Oil prices are responding to those US efforts to reopen the vital waterway. For more on how markets are reacting, take a listen to our System Markets podcast, Morning Bid. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared a 2-day ceasefire later this week in the conflict with Ukraine to mark Moscow's World War II victory this Friday. Russian state television announced the message from the Defense Ministry, adding that Moscow expects Ukraine to follow suit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, however, responded saying the ceasefire proposal is not serious. He followed that up with a message on Telegram, saying Ukraine will observe its own ceasefire beginning midnight tonight.
I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here.
That's Jake Rosmarin, an American travel blogger stuck on board a luxury cruise ship stationed off the coast of West Africa after a suspected outbreak of hantavirus. About 150 passengers have been confined to their rooms as contact tracing is carried out and medics work to evacuate people.
We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people.
3 passengers have died, a Dutch couple and a German national. The virus is transmitted when people inhale the dried droppings or urine of rodents. The World Health Organization says the risk to the public in this outbreak is low. Back in the US, the Supreme Court has ruled abortion pills can, once again, be prescribed through telemedicine and sent by mail for now. It pauses a lower court order that would have required patients to see a doctor in person. The The decision matters most in states with near total abortion bans like Louisiana. But it's not final. The pause gives the justices just under a week to make a decision. In another courtroom, a judge has apologized to the man accused of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump, saying the way he's being treated in a Washington jail is legally deficient. The magistrate said he was disturbed by the conditions for Cole Thomas Allen, which included being placed on suicide watch, held in near isolation, and denied access to a Bible, despite having no criminal history. He faces attempted assassination and firearms charges over the events at the White House Correspondents' Dinner with President Trump. Over to New York now, and to fashion's big night, the Met Gala. Attendees leaned into this year's theme of costume art. And for those of you listening, not watching, I'm going to do my best here. Bad Bunny appeared aged, and I mean literally aged, dressed like an old man, complete with wrinkles and grey hair. Event co-chair Beyonce glittered in a see-through gown with sparkles in the shape of a skeleton. Kylie Jenner wore a structured nude corset with a half-done-up gown on the bottom half to make it look like she was kind of part-way through getting dressed. While Madonna wore all black with a pirate ship on her head, an homage to a surrealist painter.
By yourself, Madonna, what by yourself?
This year's event drew protests because it was sponsored by billionaire Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. He and his wife, Lauren Sanchez Bezos, were named honorary event chairs, having made a $10 million donation, according to reports. Reverend Al Sharpton, who attended, had this to say.
Every year I've come, they've had very wealthy people that supported MAGA, and it didn't stop me from coming. They don't have enough money to keep me from talking to the artists. I came to support.
While Anna Wintour's replacement at Vogue, Chloe Mao, took a very different view.
I'm so excited about the exhibition, and it's on such a huge scale, and they are one of the reasons that it's possible, so I'm very grateful to them for their philanthropy this year.
Actress Blake Lively also walked the Met carpet.
Solid laughter.
Just hours after it was announced she had settled her lawsuit with Justin Baldoni. The deal avoids a trial that was scheduled to start in 2 weeks. Lively accused Baldoni, who directed and co-starred in the 2024 film It Ends With Us, of creating a sexually charged atmosphere on set, and then launching a smear campaign to silence her complaints. Baldoni denied the allegations and countersued for defamation. A political blame game is underway in Washington following the collapse of Spirit Airlines. The bankrupt airline says soaring fuel costs, failed bailout talks, and creditor resistance left it with no viable path to survive. Reporter Dave Shepardson in Washington has more.
Republicans point to the fact that the Biden administration went to court and successfully blocked a proposed $3.8 billion merger between JetBlue and Spirit. Democrats point out that Spirit, in its court filing, said that its restructuring plan would have worked. It would have been able to get out of bankruptcy successfully, except for this doubling of jet fuel prices since the beginning of the Iran war. So there's a lot of finger pointing about Spirit's decline. And now the question really becomes, what is the government do next if the financial pressure on the airlines from these high jet fuel prices continues for months to come?
Now, we couldn't round off today's episode without pointing you to some amazing Reuters reporting that has now been awarded 2 Pulitzer Prizes. One is for beat reporting on Meta, a series of investigations on how the company knowingly exposed users, including children, to harmful AI chatbots and fraudulent ads. The story sparked regulatory probes worldwide and forced Meta to change its chatbot policies. Another is for national reporting on President Trump's campaign of political retribution. Our sister podcast, On Assignment, produced long-form episodes on both of those incredible investigations. There are links to both of those in the show notes. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.